Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Zach, aka Keats39 here, bringing another Thursday showdown. We have a really fun, exciting game for the second straight Thursday, actually. Used to on the first week, but usually after that first week, it gets kind of gross. But get a really fun game here with the Chiefs and the Chargers in Arrowhead. It's it's really tough slate to build, though. There's so many good plays. Go ahead, get right into it. I'll start with the Chiefs side. Um, you almost, you pretty much have to play Pat Mahomes. Dude is just a monster. You saw first week didn't need Tyreek obviously helps the offense, but he's just so good that he doesn't have to have that alpha male wide receiver, even though he does have Travis Kelce. Um, yeah, so the one fun thing about this slate is that you can actually play both quarterbacks and get pretty decent stacks with them. And it's not that hard. Like years past when you had these types of games, it's really hard because one, it's really hard to get. It was really hard to get either of Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, and you felt like you had to make a choice. This year, you don't even have you don't have to play Travis Kelce. Oh, he is very elite play. He has destroyed the Chargers in the past, even with as good as Derwin James is. But yeah, you just have so many guys that are going to play a ton of snaps for the Chiefs at low prices that you can really easily, on both sides, actually have really low price guys that are going to play a ton of snaps. So, yeah, you're going to lock Pat Mahomes probably, and honestly, probably Justin Herbert. We'll get to that in a second. As mentioned, Travis Kelce, it's going to be interesting to see what they do here because of how good he's been against them, even with arguably the best safety in the league. And Derwin James guarding him. There's a chance that J.C. Jackson comes back tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they threw him on him. I mean, you don't care to put him on Marquez Valdes-Scantling or he could travel, I guess, in the slot to Juju. It just doesn't seem like it's like all that beneficiary for him to guard one of those guys when you could put him on Travis Kelce. It'll be interesting to see what they do though if he does play. If he doesn't play, I don't really see much of a difference they can do. And Travis Kelce probably just destroys him again, as he does against most teams. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a tough one for me. He's just priced out of my range. Like I'd rather play Mike Williams at the price. But that's going to be most people's thoughts. I think he's fine for GPP. I'm not that scared of the Chargers' red defense. They have two very elite defensive linemen, but more effective in the pass rush. The Chargers have been pretty bad in the run defense the last few years. But yeah, the thing that scares me, it's tough to go off week one because they did blow them out. Like Pacheco is not going to play at 23% of snaps rate to get the 23% snap rate again. Yeah, so I think he's fine for GPPs, but cash, you just can't really do that. Yeah, you're just preferring one of the other spend ups or go down to the next guy, Juju Smith-Schuster, who was definitely Mahomes' go-to guy in the first half. Like it was him and Kelce were definitely Kelce won, and Juju is definitely number two. He was looking his way very often. And honestly, Juju played a pretty bad game. He fumbled a couple times. And all 6 for 80 was in the first half. He didn't have a catch. I don't even know if he had a target in the second half. So yeah, it just wasn't needed. Really like Juju here. If JC Jackson plays, it'll be interesting to see, as I said, if he goes in the slot against Juju. I'm just not thinking he does. So he's probably my favorite price adjusted play on this team. So Marquez Valdes-Scantling was definitely is Juju MVS as the number 1 and 2 receivers. MVS led the team in snap count. He's cheap enough where I have no issues playing him. Like in this high total game, like personally for me, I prefer to like get these mid tier guys like and play a bunch of them rather than trying to get up to Kelce or Eckler. But that's going to be a fun decision to make when it comes down to the time. But yeah, very in play. Caught all 4 of his targets for 44 yards. Yeah, I think like I don't expect him to be very high end either. Like that, he's just in a weird price range. Um, and if he catches a long touchdown, like no one's going to be surprised. Dude's playing 90% of snaps with the best quarterback in the league, so who loves to throw it deep. So I definitely have a lot of interest in MBS. I think I prefer McCole Hardman. He had the 6 targets for only 16 yards, but he should have had a long touchdown early in the game, but was I don't remember. I forget if Mahomes overthrew him. I think it honestly was on McCole, but I don't exactly remember from watching it. But yeah, he played that Tyreek Hill role. Obviously not anywhere near as good as Tyreek, even though he does have that second round draft capital. But yeah, he was just motioning all over the field, getting those like cute design plays that Tyreek Hill was getting. So like I don't remember looking at the air yards, but I'd be willing to bet that they're pretty high, even with his 3 catch for 16-yard performance. So I have a lot of interest in McCole too. He is clearly the number 3 wide receiver. They didn't really play Sky Moore. Justin Watson was more of the good blowout time. So I think he's very, very in play. Although the Chiefs do like to run a lot of these like 2-3 tight end sets, so we'll get in that in a second. So we know that there's no Butker. Amendola is a very meh kicker, always obviously in play, playing with the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be surprised if like they're on the 35-yard line, it's 4th and 3 to see them like go for it in this scenario. Amendola doesn't have the same big leg that Butker does, so yeah, definitely have interest, but it's a last click thing for sure. So on the running backs, I have a lot of interest in Jerick McKinnon in this possible shootout. He was playing most of the 3rd downs, and he was playing a ton in the early part of the game. Like he played the same amount of snaps as Clyde, and I don't think that like very many of I didn't watch the end of the game, but I'm pretty positive that not many were at the end of the game, as Pacheco was getting almost all the snaps at the end of the game, getting pretty much every carry. So I do think that they almost view him as a 1B this year. So like between the two, I do prefer playing Jerick McKinnon. Obviously, like if you're playing a fantasy league, you're playing Clyde. He's the better one, better chance of scoring a touchdown. And he did a really good job of catching passes too last game. But for price adjusted, like give me McKinnon, like pretty similar role. Not going to get as much as like the straight handoffs that Clyde's going to get, but these like third down screen passes and stuff, and just getting this check down on 3rd down with Pat Mahomes is very valuable. And I would expect if it's a close game for him to get the 2-minute offense too. So definitely like McKinnon a lot. Sky Moore, more of a GPP play. I think he's in play because I think as the year goes on, he's going to get more and more looks. He's just really, really good. I really like Scott Moore. But tough to play. I got give me McKinnon over him, who I feel really confident in to get a decent amount of snaps and generated touches. But yeah, like I would be surprised to see like him get some jet sweeps. He's really good with the ball in his hands. He's the returner, so in play. Not my play though. Fortson's another guy that I have interest in. Him and Mahomes have looked like he gets a lot of targets in the red zone. We saw in the preseason he caught 2 touchdowns from actually might have caught more, but I know he caught 2 from Pat Mahomes in the game that Pat Mahomes played a lot. Caught a touchdown last game. I was really bummed out to see this because I thought for some reason I thought he was a lot more athletic. Just from watching him, because he's so big and strong, and he goes and catches these jump balls, which is what we saw in the preseason. And we saw last week it's just on a crosser, but from the preseason, like from watching him, I thought he's going to be this really like athletic guy. Had a good agility score, catch radius, but he's not. So I was kind of bummed by that. But he did play a lot of snaps, probably more so with when the game was out of control. 24 snaps, but he has a like decent chance of touchdowns. We saw in the Monday night game his tight ends just go off. So yeah, I think he's a fine GPP pawn. Noah Gray could say the same thing. Not as good as a receiver as Fortson to me. But you see in the red zone, Andy Reid comes up with these wild plays to get these guys open. So no issues on that either. Over to the Chargers side. As I said, I'm definitely going to be playing Herbert. I like that mid tier, and there's enough punts for me to feel fine playing both quarterbacks. Eckler's a tough one for me. I definitely like Eckler a lot here. I think no Keenan Allen is only going to benefit him. His snap count was very not ideal for me for a 10-game guy. 50% of snaps in a pretty competitive football game. But I do think that there's going to be more touchdowns in this game. There's just going to be more, and he played like every snap in the red zone, so he probably scored a touchdown here. Definitely like Eckler. Price going to be tough. Like I'm not playing. I have no interest in playing him over Herbert or Mahomes, though. But you could definitely get 3 studs. So I think he's fine. Mike Williams, another one that he's going to benefit from no Keenan Allen. Really a bummer week 1 performance. Wouldn't really worry too much about that. The Chiefs' number 1 corner is out. Oh no, that's freezing. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't catch a touchdown here either. And like honestly, I expect a monster game from Mike Williams. Yeah, so a lot of interest in playing him. Yeah, don't really. I wouldn't be surprised to see him play in the snap. I kind of think it's a 3-man committee. Like we've seen Mike Williams play in the slot before, like as a big guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him get some snaps there either. He's just going to get a ton of targets tonight, so definitely very strong. So now we come to the Chargers value plays, and there's a lot of them. So Joshua Palmer got all the preseason hype, had a really good preseason game. He got a lot of hype last year too. He's just a guy that a lot of people like. Box score and stuff, but he played like 80% of the snaps, 75% of the snaps. He's going to play every 2 wide receiver set. He played in the slot a ton last year, actually, when in the games that Keenan Allen missed. He had 4 targets, only 3 catches for 5 yards. I expect a lot more here. Just really cheap for a wide receiver too in a Justin Herbert offense. He's going to be probably the chalk of the chalk, I would guess, from these value plays. But it's hard to argue. Definitely love Josh Palmer. Gerald Everett is a guy that I was very bullish on. I told everyone I loved him this year, and he came through for me week 1. I guess a similar ideal situation week 2 with no Donald Palmer to par him again. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns, I think. We saw the Chargers made old guys like an old guy like Jared Cook very fantasy relevant. We saw Hunter Henry play really well with them. So yeah, this mid tiers, these 3 guys are options 3, 4, and 5 in a Justin Herbert operated offense. It's really tough for me to ignore that. So yeah, and he played a ton of snaps in the slot with himself. They played a lot of 2 tight end set when Keenan Allen got hurt. Wouldn't be surprised if they did it again, although I think that more practice with like DeAndre Carter is only going to help them get him more snaps. He was the guy that had this big game. He had the long touchdown catch. Obviously, he's not going to play the Keenan Allen role, but he's going to get a ton of snaps. And he's a very, very athletic guy, as you see here. Fast, elite agility, just really, really solid for one of these. Really solid college already too. So yeah, another guy that I really like. So that's, as I stated earlier, my strategy I think is going to be to get as many of these mid-tier guys like McCole Hardman, Palmer, Everett, Carter. Like I want to stack up on that range with the 2 quarterbacks. So yeah, can't really say much more than that for these guys. Carter also looked really good in the preseason. He didn't even play a whole lot because they had 2 other slot receivers that were really good. But he was obviously the one that made the team and caught the snaps when Keenan got hurt. So yeah, tough to dislike him. Obviously, kicker is always in play. Sonny Michel got a lot of snaps, more snaps than I would like to see. 3K is a little like I'd probably prefer to play Jerick McKinnon. He's just gonna get more like opportunities and to touch the ball, to get score fantasy points like catching and scoring. Plus they ran a 3-man committee and Joshua Kelly played a ton of snaps too. I would also prefer Joshua Kelly over Sony as they're the same role and he's half the price. So yeah, and the finish and just for either of those guys, make sure Spiller's inactive. I would assume he is, but he was hurt, so I think that has a chance to be the reason why those two got more run. And why he was a healthy scratch, but just wait and see on that. If he's active, you don't want to touch any of them really. Unless if say like Spiller's active and one of these two is inactive, then I think you can consider Spiller at 200. But I think Jalen Guyton is another. I think he's in play too. Like I don't think it's out of possibilities that they play Palmer in the slot and play Guyton on the outside. Like I think that's very, very possible. As Guyton has shown his moments of flashing, catching the deep ball, and he's played a lot with the Chargers in the past. So that's something worth monitoring. That's like the one reason why I'm not fully in on Carter. Like I'd prefer these two over Carter because I think it is possible for something funky like that to happen. Now, when you look at the snaps, obviously they didn't have too much interest in it, but that could just be a game plan thing. So I think that like if you're playing 100 GPPs, you play some of Jalen Guyton. Last guy I'll mention is Trey McKitty. He's 400 and he played a ton of snaps. I'm pretty sure the same amount of snaps as Everett. Yeah, 4 less. He's not very athletic, but a game with the high total. If the game's close, I think he plays more. If it's a blowout, they do more, or not blowout, but if they're trailing a lot, then they play more 3 wide receiver sets. But yeah, like 40 snaps. Like I keep beating the drum, but with Justin Herbert, it's just going to lead to good things. And if he's going to play in the red zone when they get this 2 tight end sets, so just a touchdown at that $400 price, as we saw in the showdown on Monday, can really just elevate your score. Yeah, and that's going to do it. As always, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next week. Later.